Hello there, this is Scott Hayton, Director at Hutchings Consultants with our new podcast for May 2016. During the course of today's podcast, we're going to look at pharmacy goodwill values in London. Specifically, what's been the impact of the government's announcement to cut the pharmacy budget? How have buyers in the market responded? And ultimately, how has this affected prices that sellers are achieving? Unless you've been under a rock or off travelling the world for the last few months, you'll know all too well that the open letter sent by government to the PSNC outlining nebulous but potentially radical changes for the pharmacy sector caused big waves within the industry. The timing was typical, the design was lacking. The government neglected to add any detail to the sketch, and in the meantime, whilst there are several parties and petitions currently out there fighting this, some clarity at the end of the curiously termed consultation period on the 24th of May would probably be welcomed by all, if not reluctantly. This consultation period has already been extended 2 months beyond the originally proposed end date of March 24th. This was reportedly to allow PSNC some time to work through the proposals, and I find myself wondering if the situation will become as procrastinated as the changes to control of entry were in 2012. That said, the government do seem to have a different interpretation of the word consultation to the rest of us, so perhaps we will have our answers after all. Despite the government's early Christmas present to pharmacy owners last year, it's been business as usual in the pharmacy world during the first quarter of 2016, and goodwill prices in London have apparently remained strong for the most part. In the first few weeks of January, we were due to receive offers on several businesses, and during this time even we couldn't know for certain how the news might have impacted on prices. The answer, though it seems, is not all that significantly. In recent weeks, I've agreed a sale at a price in excess of £1.40 in the pound, which would have been considered strong even before the cuts were announced. But how can I say with any degree of certainty that this price is better or worse than we would have seen last year? I've already mentioned to a few pharmacists in discussions over the phone. The fact is, I can't. We can never truly know what price a particular business would have sold for before the announcement, particularly as each pharmacy business is unique in its makeup, costs and profits. But when the offers first started coming in January, it certainly didn't feel significantly different. The offers were about where we had expected. As more pharmacies closed for offers in the following weeks and months, the data slowly reinforced the feeling for us. And at this point, I would say that as little as between 0 and 5% in value may actually have been eroded from good quality London pharmacy businesses. But why is this? The reasons, so far as I can tell, are threefold. Number one, pharmacy is profitable, and despite everything is still expected to be profitable. Number two, demand is still off the charts. Whilst a reasonable number of buyers in the market have paused for thought, there are still huge numbers of buyers out there looking to acquire. And number three, there's still an undersupply of good quality pharmacies in London to meet the level of demand. Having said this, there has been a noticeable increase in the number of pharmacies coming onto the market following the announcement. And having looked into the numbers in more detail, Hutchings have taken on 62% more business in the first 3 months of 2016 compared with the same period in 2015. Assuming this trend is repeated across the rest of the market, then this does provide a marked increase in choice for would-be buyers. But if that is the case, then why haven't we seen London pharmacy prices fall more severely? Well, one observation we have made over the course of the last few months is that if a pharmacy business was profitable and attractive before the cuts, then it's likely to be viewed the same way by buyers now and receive a lot of interest. As a result of this high level of interest, there may have been very little change in its goodwill value, perhaps a few percent. Conversely, a pharmacy which may have been viewed by buyers in a negative light last year because of certain issues or risks attached to it, has just had another potential risk added to it following the budget cut. And in the current climate where there happens to be a little bit more choice around for buyers, we're seeing a more cautious approach taken. As a result, these kinds of pharmacies are likely to see a more significant drop in their value and will become more difficult to sell. For attractive London pharmacy businesses, we're still seeing multiple offers received. the average number for 2016 so far being 7 offers received per sale, compared with 10 offers per sale average seen in 2015. The buyer profile across London also remains pretty comparable to last year, with small group owners, single shop owners, and first-time buyers leading the chase for new instructions, leaving the large operators taking a back seat. We are seeing more activity from the bigger players outside of London, but that's been true for a number of years now. From a lender's perspective, there has been a slight tightening of policy across the board, and the cuts are certainly being taken into consideration at the banks, but they're evidently still supportive of the sector. And I think that currently, with most pharmacies still trading at healthy gross profit margins when compared over, say, the last 5 years, lenders have done relatively little to subdue the appetite of buyers. Another factor in all of this, if you'll excuse me for stating the obvious, is that pharmacists are heavily invested in pharmacy. It sounds redundant, but it's true, and particularly for the younger generation of pharmacists out there. A huge amount of time, money, blood, sweat and tears went into getting the average pharmacist to where they are today, and they're unlikely to sit back and give that all up, not without a fight. In fact, most of the pharmacists we are speaking to remain positive and believe that this latest challenge will be overcome and new income streams and opportunities for pharmacy will present over the course of the next few years. For some pharmacy owners, however, we've seen that this announcement has been the straw that broke the camel's back. They've run out of fight and are happy to take retirement. Others wish to consolidate their business and focus on their more profitable branches. If you are listening to this and are thinking of selling your pharmacy or part of your group, do please get in touch for a confidential discussion and free valuation. We're still seeing a huge range of offers on pharmacy businesses, and in this more uncertain climate, with differing opinion amongst buyers, it's even more important that you have professional advice to ensure that you're achieving the best possible price for your business. Thankfully, the government has left the entrepreneur's rate alone for now, and so most sellers remain likely to qualify and benefit from this 10% rate. One North London pharmacy which we marketed recently following the announcement was under offer within the space of just 1 week of us sending out the sales particulars. We had around 10 interested parties from a limited marketing exercise, and an early offer was received in excess of the guide price to remove the pharmacy from the market. This was a desirable business, and it ticked all the boxes for the buyers. Ultimately, it was a good offer, a good buyer, and the vendor decided to accept. So now we're looking for similar businesses across London for those parties that missed out. The final point I'd like to raise before signing off today is that as the industry faces what has been called a perfect storm of pressures, we just don't know what the future holds for goodwill prices. Will we see a significant number of pharmacies closing as a result of the 6% cuts alone, or might this instead come over a longer period from a multitude of factors such as pensions, auto-enrolments, compulsory living wage, or any further announcement the government still has up its sleeve? Might the closure of smaller pharmacies improve the value of the larger remaining pharmacies in the market as dispensing is reallocated? Might additional pressures on locum rates and pharmacist salaries fuel an increase in demand amongst buyers which has a positive effect on values? Or might all of these factors combine with a reduction in Category M reimbursements that fixes goodwill values at their current levels or even reduces them? Only time will tell. For any sellers listening who would like to have a confidential discussion, our contact details can be found on the website, or you can email me directly, scott@hutchingsconsultants.com. You can also arrange a callback using the form found on the Contact Us page of the website. Thank you very much for listening.